wonderful, amazing, spectacular tea people. I hope you are doing wonderful on this beautiful. Uh, is it beautiful? I don't know what. I don't know. It's a little. Anyways, it's still warm. It's a morning here in Hualien. So first off, thank you everyone so much for all the messages. It's been overwhelming. It's pretty. It's pretty amazing doing this type of. I just do tea. And so there's so many people all over the world that have done a lot of actually things. So it wasn't just tea, but there's um, so many messages asking how the family was, how I was, how everything was going on. So many people were in touch with us. And so just, a heartfelt thank you for that. A heartfelt thank you for all the well wishes. Here in Hualien, it is, as you can see, it's an April morning. The beard is becoming a little bit of a, it's getting a little too hot for the beard, but we'll probably keep the beard for a while. And it is sort of the aftermath of the earthquake. All right, so the earthquake happened. I guess that was Wednesday morning. Now it is Friday morning, and in general, things here in Hualien are pretty fine. Now, not to diminish what has happened, and we'll get into that. I can sort of talk about the stuff that made the news. Just for me personally and the people that I know, no one that I know has had anything more happen than perhaps sweeping up some glass. So that's pretty good, pretty good. Now, when the earthquakes come to Taiwan, one of the reasons why the earthquakes do not affect Taiwan as much as they would affect other places. Remember, this was a 7.4 that hit right beside Hualien, right beside a population center. Now, why was there so basically little damage? Now, there were two buildings that came down. The two buildings that came down, one of them, Hualien's a small town. I know a lot of people, and so I actually know the people who own that building. So there's the one that came down like this, and it had like a round glass thing, and it came down like this. Sort of, you can see it in all the news photos. It's sort of like that. Same thing that happened about 6 or 7 years ago now, back when I was starting out my tea business. It hit right. There was a building that fell over. There's another earthquake. And it was the same idea with that earthquake in the sense that they were, the owners of both of those buildings were horrible slumlords. And they did things to the buildings to make them unstable and to make them fall over. And so that building and the building that happened 6 years ago, same thing. The other one was a breakfast shop right beside my children's, or one of my children's anyway, school. We drive by basically every day. We drive by this place literally every day. And it fell down because to make a breakfast place, they had to take out a bunch of the supporting beams at the front of the house. So they took out all the supporting beams in the front of the house. And so in that one, thankfully, no one died. There's like this crazy video of all these people running out just before the thing fell down, because it was a breakfast shop. It was full of people having breakfast in the breakfast shop. And not to diminish those things. I mean, they're terrible. But both of those buildings that came down because of structural bad things that they did. So to give you an example, I am closer to the epicenter here in my house, and literally nothing happened. No, wait. The TV fell off its shelf and didn't break, which I'm a little bit disappointed about, because we're kind of a screen-free family. Um, and so the TV didn't break, but it fell off the shelf. And but that's it. Like, so I've got rooms upon rooms of tea, and right up to the ceilings, and the tea didn't even fall off the shells. They're not special shells; they're those IKEA metal shells. Glad your family say prayers to the Taiwanese people. Yes, yeah. Well, it's basically what happened was, if you were unlucky enough to live in one of these slumlord places, uh, or like, in general, it wasn't that bad. Now, here's the exception, and here's the part that was like really, really tough for me to watch all this happen, because I still know people in the industry. I used to be a tour guide, and so I call myself an adventure guide, whatever. And Taroko Gorge, right? So this place up in the mountains, Taroko Gorge. The videos that were coming out of that were just like, it was just like those are places I've been to hundreds, if not thousands of times. And so the whole mountainside, came down. And if you were in those places when that happened, it was 8 a.m. on a 8 a.m. on a Wednesday. You were cooked, and I think there was one or two people who died up there from falling rocks, sort of coming down, which is obviously very unfortunate. And but in general, I mean, I think there was actually more damage in many ways from the other earthquake, the one that was about 6 years ago, in the sense of water main damage. Like, driving around the city, there wasn't really a lot of. There were some things that were broken for sure, but it really wasn't that much. It wasn't as much as it was sort of 6 years ago. Now, what I'll probably do at some point in the next little while, I'll take my phone and I can show you some videos of the building that fell over. I haven't seen any memes of it going around. That was really, for me, it was kind of disturbing. When the last earthquake, there was that building that fell down. They put a bunch of steel beams along the bottom of that building to stop it from falling over, and then they made memes out of it. And it was a little disturbing for me, because that people got hurt in that building. But anyways, thankfully nothing like that has started for this earthquake, and I hope it doesn't. But again, thank you everybody so much for your well wishes, and for sort of the words that were sent all over the place. Again, here we're fine. The vast majority of people here are fine. It wasn't a big, it was quite a big earthquake, but thankfully. So when you're looking at earthquakes and typhoons, and this is the answer, again, I used to be, people would ask me this all the time. Right? People ask me this all the time. This was the answer that I would give when I used to be an adventure guide. And they say, earthquakes and typhoons, is it safe? And tragically, but like so much in life, earthquakes and typhoons, the real danger of earthquakes and typhoons is not really earthquakes and typhoons, to a certain level, right? Really, really big earthquake, really, really big typhoon, there's nothing you can do. But in general, when you're looking at your average earthquake and your average typhoon, the real danger is not so much the weather or the earthquake, it's poverty. It's poverty. And so when you have a big earthquake in a basically first world country like Taiwan, it's not a big deal. I mean, it is. It wasn't. If this, put it this way, this had happened anywhere else in the world, in the sense of somewhere that wasn't quite as same building standards or different things like that, it would have been much, much, much worse. Much, much, much worse. But because in Taiwan, building standards are very, very high. If you've been to Taiwan, actually, if you just look behind me, you can see the architecture is awful. It's terrible. Like that's these are the average houses. Like this is it. That's it. And there's no change in the architecture. There's no you can see this one above my shoulder here. Like in that camera, it's over here. But they're ugly, and they all look the same. And the reason that is because the building standards for Taiwan are so high, right? The building standards for Taiwan are so high that earthquakes and typhoons don't really do much. You know, like the equivalent would be a typhoon day in Taiwan is exactly the same as a snow day where I grew up in Canada. Exactly the same, right? There might be people who get hurt because they're driving their car in the snow, or there might be some accident, you know, where something happens that's just like, you know, that's with the typhoon. But in general, you know, with typhoons, you're pretty safe because the houses are just so strong. Whereas in a lot of other places, when you see the typhoons rolling through, it's poverty. It's poverty that hurts people and kills people. Obviously, bad luck as well. And you know, even sort of in the North American context, you know, it's when the hurricanes roll through, it's the what gets hit the worst. Obviously, it's the places filled with poverty, right? So the trailer parks and things like that. Those are the places that get hit the worst. You know, obviously there's exceptions when the hurricane or the typhoons are really big. It's a big problem. Earthquakes the same. But you know, for this earthquake, for example, thankfully we were okay, just in general in this area. But today we're going to go out and we're going to go. I'm going to go with my boys, and we are going to go and we are going to go to various places around and see if we can help out. So we'll go and see if we can help out clean up or move stuff around or different things like that, and figure it out. But that is the earthquake update. Does anybody have questions about any of that? Does anybody have questions about the earthquake update and about that type of stuff? Right now, I'm drinking my go-to Happy Place tea, which is of course the Deepwater Oolong, the Coastal Mountain Deepwater Oolong, which is an absolutely beautiful tea. I'm sure. I mean, I'll say it a lot, right? Obviously, but you know, thank you everybody for all the support. You know, I was thinking after the sale, you know, we'd get some time, like people would stop buying tea. We get some time. Would you chill out? We get some time. No, but no, people are still buying tea. So it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. What with the earthquake too? What I'll do is I'll see if there's anybody that needs help, and I'll throw that out there as well. But it's just too fast. It's too soon right now. So nobody really quite knows exactly what's going on with all of that stuff. But yeah. So any questions about that stuff? Any questions about the earthquake? I'll go and I'll take some videos of sort of some of the damage a little bit later, maybe in the next couple of days, something like that. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. It's you're getting messages from all over the world, from all the different people that I've had contact with over the years. It's quite fascinating, actually. But cheers to everybody who sent us well wishes. We're fine, and we're going to go out today, and we're going to go out and help people that perhaps didn't make it through as well as we did. So thank you for that. We're going to go down the coast, and we're going to go see some friends, and we're going to go to one of my son's schools, and see how everything is down there. See if we can fix it up, do that type of stuff. What else is going on? Well, most of the highways out of Hualien are now broken. So I'll be going on trips. So there's a lot of damage in that sense. And but you know, the highways that are around Hualien, they're quite narrow roads, and so thankfully there wasn't too many. I mean, there was a few, but there wasn't too many people hurt in the roads. But it's going to be hard for me to go out around, and the train's still open though, so I can take the train. But it's going to be hard to go out. Matt Brewing with the Gaiwan, always exciting to see. Yes, well, it's I wanted to get the most out of this Deepwater Oolong, right? Just pull the most out of it. And I think I mentioned it before. Anyways, this tea, I got the full story about this tea, and this is very much like the classic tea from the past, the missed opportunity oolong. And the story is that they wanted to make a green oolong out of it, but my buddy got his younger brother, who's a bit of an F up, to do it, and he forgot to take it to get it. He forgot to continue the tea processing for about 4 hours. And so this tea is highly oxidized, and they thought it might be ruined, but it turned into this beautiful, amazing tea that's now the favorite of myself, and I think it's the favorite of more and more people as people will figure it out and people drink it. But I find it quite hilarious, and the problem is I bought all that I could, right? So I got a bunch. It's not selling out anytime soon. Depending on how popular it is, it'll probably last until the summer, if not more than the summer. It'll last more than the summer. But I don't know if I'll ever be able to make it again because it was an accident to be made in the first place. But we'll see how it goes. Would the road closures be the most significant impact on your day to day going forward? I guess I don't leave here very often. I don't leave here very often. But in general, there is probably going to be some construction, so it'll be hard to move around in the city. That would be the biggest sort of day to day changes. My youngest son constantly asks me questions about earthquakes now, even more so than he did before. What else would be going on? Yeah, the road thing is going to be. You can look it up. There was like a huge, like just a bridge just fell out. Thankfully, nobody was on it at the time, but there's a big bridge just right, and so yeah, it's going to be a month before those roads are going full. Just glad you guys are safe because I know the Calgary's are mostly in the mountains, which is exactly what where you are most of the time. Well, yes, Mr. Social Worker, I was talking about that earlier. Actually, like I'm retired, I don't do that anymore, and it was very surreal seeing pictures of that. Right, so I'm seeing pictures of these places that I've been to thousands upon thousands of times, and just like there's one, the Shakadang Trail, built by the Japanese, and the earthquake has taken out part of that trail. And I was actually on the television walking along that one stretch. Like there was I want to say Champs Elysees, but there's a French travel show, and I was on this French travel show, and from the bridge you can see the spot. And I was walking, I walked across it like 15 times to get the shot for their TV show. Échappes Belle was the name of the and I'm seeing it, and it's like gone, like gone. And so that stuff is quite that stuff's quite dramatic, obviously. But it would have been better if it happened at night. There were some people in those places, but it was a Tuesday before the big holiday, which means that basically the Trocal Gorge and the mountains were basically empty. But if it had happened at 8 a.m. today, for example, the Friday in the middle of the long holiday, it would have been exponentially worse, like 2-3 orders of magnitude worse, because there would have been so many people up the gorge, so many people. But it was like I said, like I had people asking me to do trips this week, from back in the day, and it's like I don't do that now. And cheers to all of you out there who have supported my change in careers. You've thank you. We talk about it all the time with my family, in the context of low risk high reward, low risk for your jobs and your choices in life. And so what it was for me was before it was high risk, medium reward to be the guide to go up into the mountains of these places. Because I mean, I've seen, like, I could go into the stories of the things that I've seen. I've seen some craziest things, like just the craziest things. Um, and and so it was, high risk and medium reward, and now it's selling tea as low risk with medium reward, I guess, or it depends on what I do with it, right? It's an unlimited reward. I could sell my soul and start selling on Amazon and sell lots of tea, lots of really cheap, crappy, dirty tea, and be like, look at me, I'm an organic guy. Like I could do that and make it huge, or I could just keep doing this. So medium reward, but yeah, like I said, it's very, very strange watching all of that happen, seeing it happen up in the mountains, in places that have been to thousands upon thousands of times. Trying to remember, is it Tomb Sweeping Festival? Yes. Can't imagine being caught in or near a landslide. Yes, I have been caught in or near a landslide many, many, many times, but thankfully never that big, never that big. So they were all sort of small landslides, or smaller landslides. And maybe I haven't actually seen it, or paid close attention to the mountains behind me. So when it's a sunny day, when I do a live stream in a sunny day back behind me, you know what? There might actually be some fresh landslides that you'll be able to see up in those mountains, perhaps. But like I said, thankfully, for me, my family, for the people on my street, and all of that, it was scary. Absolutely, it was scary. But it was, you know, thankfully, it wasn't that impactful. It wasn't a huge, huge deal for us in this area. Um, but like I said, it could have been. No, it could have been. It could have been for sure if I was doing the stuff that I was in the past. But that is official now. I am 100% retired from doing adventure tours into the mountains of Hualien. So if you come to Hualien, I don't even know if I have a place to drink tea. Anyways, I think I'll do something where I can take people to beautiful places to drink tea, but um, I'm officially retired from adventure trips. Adventure trips are done are done for me. They helped me a lot. They helped me buy this house. And they helped me start up this business. But now I do tea. But now I do tea. Um, but speaking of what's important, I've got to go and deal with my kids, have a little bit of breakfast, and go and try and find some people who need help. So try and find some people who need help. In general, and it's kind of hard to do in this area. But we're gonna go and we're gonna see. We're gonna drive around and see if we have friends uh, who need help cleaning up or moving stuff or things like that. That's what we're gonna do for the rest of the day. The idea was to actually go into the river and go for sort of the first swim. I don't know if you can tell. I mean, it's hiding it pretty well with the hat, but we're in summertime. It's hot. It's hot. We're in summertime. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the boys and we're going to drive around and we're going to go talk to our friends and acquaintances and see who needs some help and go help them. But like I said, it's probably not going to be too many people. Well, yes. Well, thank you for joining in. Well, I have a lot of experience. If you guys want, I'll fly over. so a lot of experience with helping clean up after earthquakes. But um, that's yeah, it's a strange one, because I grew up in a place where there were no earthquakes. No earthquakes. I grew up in Toronto. There's no earthquakes. Really? Okay. Well, it's and once again, thankfully, not to diminish what happened at all, but in general, things here are okay. In general, things here are okay. Um, Oh, really? Okay. Wow. Yeah. Well, it's not that bad, right? So, um, like I said, that the houses that came down were uh, one was a slumlord place. I actually know of the family who owned it, and they were like literally slumlords. I think it's what's called technically what it's called is distressed real estate, I believe is the technical term. So basically, what happens is if something doesn't pass any tests, and they're like, "Oh, we just can't afford to fix it," they come in and they buy it, and then they do the exact minimum. They pay the right people. They do the exact minimum to get that apartment building or multifamily whatever back up and running again. And so that's what they did, and that's why it fell down. Anyways, uh, I should probably not say too much on. Anyways, the point is that we're going to go out and we're going to go and try and find some people that need some help. But chances are there's not going to be too many people that need help. There might be some plumbers that need to go out and do plumbing stuff. But like I said, I've got rooms full of tea on tall, narrow, relatively cheap shelves. I mean, they work really well. Those metal shelves. You buy them anywhere. Sort of one step down from IKEA. You just with the plastic things, the black plastic things. You go click, and then you put it on and go like that. Anyways, everybody knows those things. And not a single tea fell off. Well, actually, there was 2 bags of tea that were right at the top that fell off. But anyways, other than that, nothing happened. Right? It wasn't that bad. Well, thank you. Yes, and um, a last thank you to everybody who got in touch. I mean, it's just uh, so many people got in touch. You okay? You okay? You okay? And it's pretty dramatic for me to see all the support and all the people that perhaps I've impacted selling tea. Um, and definitely some people as well that I had met in the past doing adventure tours. But yeah, but thank you everybody for the support. It's wonderful. It's so nice to take your sons out to help. Looking at my red clay teapot, wondering if the kiln smokestack survived. Oh yeah, that's a good one. So yes, actually, that's a great question. Um, Now they don't use that smokestack anymore, right? So there's a big ass smokestack, uh, and the last one, I wondering if it fell, but they don't use it anymore, and it's actually like the radius of where it could fall. There's nothing there, right? There's nothing there. But that's a great question. That is an absolutely great, wonderful question, because it might have fallen over this time. And also too, they have inside where they do the yeah, I got to get in touch with my buddy and ask him how it went, because he's got a lot of really beautiful things on shelves. he's got he's got a lot of really beautiful things on shelves. He's got a lot of really beautiful things on shelves. So depending on how bad the damage is for him, we might be starting to sell a lot of those, so he can get money to repair stuff. But there we go. There we go. Thank you, Ms. N, for that. That's a great question, and I will. I'll do that. The idea was to get a lot of the pots and things going in the next couple days, anyways, or in the next couple months, anyways. But I think that might hurry it up because he might need an injection of cash if there's damage. If there's damage, but I'll check that out soon. Contact your growers to make sure the gardens and irrigation hasn't shifted. I've talked to some already. It's fine. It really is. It's not a big deal for them. If he has a natural kiln, not the electric types, well, he has 2. He does electric and he has the wood one. And so, like I said, I got to get in touch with him and make sure he's okay. But where that area is, there's this huge, massive, like huge thing. And that might have fallen over. Although it didn't with the last one, but maybe this time because it was big. I think the last one was like a 6'8". Seemed bigger than that. Anyways, I can't remember what the last one was. Anyways, I gotta go. I gotta go get my boys ready. Have some breakfast with them, and all of that. So one last time, can't hurt. Can't hurt. Thank you everybody for the support. Thank you everybody for the wonderful messages. My family and I are fine. Our friends are fine, as far as I know. Although now I'm starting to worry about my buddy who does the pottery. So I got to get in touch with him. But in general, the friends are fine, and sort of the tragic stuff that happened in Hualien, it doesn't, not to diminish it, but in general, the people around here, that's just, there's birds going after rice, so they shoot firecrackers at them. That's that noise in the background. Everything here is fine. Everybody who ordered, your orders will all be going out on Monday. A lot of them are already packed up and ready to go. And spring teas will be coming soon. So spring teas will be coming soon. Stay clean and sanitary. Good speed, gloves and tools. Yes, for sure. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. So there's the update. If you have any other questions about any of this stuff, let me know. Throw it in the chat or get in touch with me privately. But thankfully, we're okay. Hoping your friends goes well. Yeah, it should. Like I said, it's not. It'll be sweeping up some glass and things like that. That's about it. But anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next live stream.